You are knowing what you are wanting, and you are enjoying the evolution of your own desire, and you are enjoying the contrast that is responsible for the desire that is formulated within you. And even though there are things that you want that have not yet manifested, you are still joyful in the existence of those unfulfilled desires. Well, we keep trying. And you know, it is interesting, more and more of you, as you hear those words, do not find so much wrong with them as you once did. There was a time when, for many of you, it seemed incomprehensible that you should be asked to be joyful about unfulfilled desires. Because after all, you want things because you want things. And you should get things, and if the things you want are not coming, and even more, if you can't figure out why they're not coming, and even more, you can't figure out how to make them come, and even more, if they stubbornly stay off there unfulfilled for a long time, we can understand why it would be irritating. But when you come to realize that there will always be unfulfilled desires, and you make peace with the eternal incompletion of that which we all are, and you relax in an understanding that desire is just going to continue to evolve, and that's a good thing because that's the summoning of Source forward, then many of you are able to finally relax and make peace with where you are relative to all things. And it's interesting that when you do find that willingness, or even better, that ability to make peace with where you are, then you can move more efficiently, more effectively, certainly faster, toward what you are wanting. But in your flailing about, in your struggling at being where you don't want to be, in your embarrassment over it, or in your frustration over it, or in your anger about it, you hold yourself in the vibration that does not speed the process. In fact, it slows it. You are magnificent beings, and we say this not only to flatter you. We say it to you because you are extensions of Source energy, and you are here in these magnificent physical bodies, not to catch up with something already achieved, but as leading edge ambassadors of Source. In other words, you are the creators out here on the leading edge. And you are in the leading edge environment, having the leading edge experience, giving birth to the leading edge desires. Now here's something that you have not heard from us, and we so want you to internalize this. We think you will hear this really easily. Did you get that contrast causes you to launch a new desire? You follow us that far and feel it? And do you get that the non-physical part of you is joyously acknowledging your new discovery and lining up with it immediately, and that because of your exposure to contrast, you have personally caused the universe to expand in your unique preference, desire way? Can you get that? And don't you feel worthy and more honored that Source says you ought to know, and so here Source is in the vibration of that which you have asked for? So there it all is. And now here's what we want you to really hear. So Source is over here, fuller, broader, more, because of what you just lived. Knowing it, being it, living it, oozing it, radiating it, and knowing your relationship with it, and calling you toward it. Calling you toward it. Calling you. Not so different from, hey, over here! Calling you toward it. Saying to you, we've lined up circumstances and events. We know all things. We know every person in the universe. We know every energy. We know every thought. We have carved out the pathways to make this a possible and an easy, efficient journey for you. Come this way. Come this way. Which means, oh, you're going to love this. So here you are in despair. And Source, blissful, joyful, powerful, complete, appreciative, adoring you, loving you, Source is calling you. And you're hearing the call. But you know what it sounds like? I want to kill that guy. Because you can't hear what Source is really saying. You're just getting the call in that direction. You getting this? You're being called this way, but you can only hear it in the way that you can hear it. And so you intuitively, in a sort of knee-jerk fashion, automatically begin moving in the right direction. Do you ever see a child or an adult, anyone, who perceives that they've lost their freedom? What's the first thing that you see from them? They throw a fit, because every part of their being knows that they are free beings. And then the adults around them, the bigger ones around them, eventually can make their life so miserable that they begin to ratchet that back. But can you feel how it is a natural and a right impulse that you would move into that angry place? Now, if you do move into that angry place and you keep listening, Source will call you into a more frustrating place. And if you keep listening, Source will call you into a place of hoping and believing. And Source will call you into a place of knowing, and eventually, and we're not talking about a long time, if you're listening and if you are willing to follow your impulses, you can move right up the emotional scale very quickly. But what happens to you is you're not only listening to your own guidance. You're listening to the peanut gallery out there that's saying, that's wrong behavior. You need to go to anger management classes. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be selfish. You shouldn't be angry. And what we're wanting you to understand is that you should move in the direction of what you are wanting. So we see you, Phoenix Yuma, Phoenix Yuma, Phoenix Yuma, Phoenix Yuma, and then you announce, I have a disease that is incurable. And we say, no, you don't. You just keep turning around and going in opposition. You keep finding yourself confronted by those outside of you who do not have any way of understanding your points of vibrational relativity, who are trying to guide you, and they can't. So if you're listening to anything that is outside of you, you're spinning around out there in the desert, most of you. And that's why you think it takes so long to make your fortune. It does not. That's why you think it takes so long to find your mate. It does not. That's why you think it takes so long for you to improve your body conditions. It does not. You just got to get pointed in the direction and continue to follow your path. When you really get it, and this is the message, we would like to say these words, and then we would almost like to leave you to just ponder it forever. We'll stay the day with you, but we're tempted to just lay this out here and then say, go practice this. We want you to feel how appropriate you are and how Source never stops knowing you, knowing the wholeness of you, knowing who you were before you were born into this body, knowing who you have become since you've been in this body, and having become the vibrational leading edge essence of all that you've become, and saying, come this way, loved one, come this way, come this way, come this way. And next time you are in one of those fitful places, next time you are angry and spitting nails, next time you are feeling an emotion that you are embarrassed about, please stop and say, Source is lovingly calling me this way, and I am walking through the shadow of death, yes. I'm walking through the shadow of anger. I'm walking through the shadow of frustration. I'm walking, but I am moving in the right direction. And when you stop and acknowledge the perfection of who you are, sure, you're out of sync. You're not where you want to be. Esther's printer didn't work this morning. You'd have thought she'd run over someone with her car. In other words, the whole damn system depends on this damn printer, and this damn printer won't work. Kill me now. And we say, or get it in perspective. But most important, don't be upset that you're upset. Instead, acknowledge that the reason you feel so angry is because you feel so powerless. You see? And that anger is an appropriate next step. And then frustration is an improved step from that. And once you get into frustration, then your brain stops being frozen, and you can figure out plan B, and things will work out fine, and nothing is very important anyway. And before you know it, you're right back into vibrational alignment with who you are. But don't let life beat you up. Don't let what's happening in your life give you reason to condemn yourself ever. Because Source is always here, always aware of where you are and always calling you in the direction of what you want. And if you will just put your ear to the ground a little and be willing to listen to the call and relax as you move through the phases of the emotional scale and make peace with the fact that you are always friends. You are always, forevermore, not just you, but we, but more you than we, because frankly, we're smarter than you are. We're not smarter than you are. We're just more determined to feel good than you are. But you, we all will eternally live life in the crack. And it is the crack between where we are and where we want to be. It's always a continual motion toward something that will never end. So that's why we always harass you as we begin these gatherings by saying you're at the place where you are enjoying the contrast and you say yes, even though many of you don't mean it. And we say, even though the things that you really want have not yet manifested, you are still joyful in the journey, and you say yes, even though you don't mean it. And we want you to say yes and mean it. We want you to take such pleasure in closing the gap. We want you to be proud and happy when you move from despair into rage. We want you to know that that's a good step in the right direction. And just don't spin around in the desert. Keep going, because you can move from the deepest, darkest, most unpleasant desire, most unpleasant, contradicting vibration to your desire. You can move in a matter of minutes once you get the hang of this. You can clean up your vibration so fast you do not need to ever learn patience. We see our greatest value to you in helping you to release resistance. And you know, when you release resistance, you allow. Now, what are you allowing? We call this gathering the art of allowing. So what exactly is it that you are allowing? You are allowing yourself vibrational alignment with who you have become. You're allowing your full connection, not just to the inner being that was you before you came into this body, but to the evolved, new and improved, amended, constantly amended source energy you that you have become as a result of banging around in all this contrast. We want you to begin to take pleasure in this joyful journey. When you plan a vacation and you're going to go here and here and here and here and here and here and here, and then eventually you'll come back home, you don't objectively look at your itinerary and then say, all those places, yes, 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 and then home. Home is the final destination. Wait a minute. I'm already home. Why go? I think I'll just check vacation off my list. I have accomplished my vacation. And we say, that's really silly, isn't it? Because you don't go on the vacation to get it done. You go on the vacation for the fun along the way. And it's exactly the way you came forth into this fantastically diverse environment that would produce enormous desires within you that you would incrementally give birth to, that Source would agree with and then call you toward. You never ever said, I'll go forth and get it all figured out and get it done. You said, I'll explore the contrast, I'll give birth to a desire. Source will ride the rocket of my desire and call me toward it, and I will have a manifestation and a new awareness and a new perspective and a new set of contrasting experiences, which will give birth to another rocket of desire that Source will ride the rocket of and become one with, and Source will call me toward it, and I will become a vibrational match to it. And when I'm sending out one signal, there will be a manifestation about it, and in that achievement of that new creation, I will also have a new vantage point and a new set of contrasting experiences, which will give birth to another rocket of desire, which Source will ride the rocket of, and Source will call me toward. And as I come toward it by following the pattern of what feels best to me, I will come into vibrational alignment with it. And when I'm offering one signal, there will be a manifestation of it. And now I'm standing in a new vibrational place with a new set of contrasting experiences, which will give birth to another rocket of desire, which at first I'm not a vibrational match to, but my source is a vibrational match to it. And then I'll begin to hear the calling of it. As I hear the calling of it, I'll move up the emotional scale until I close the gap, until I've moved through the crack, until I become one in vibrational alignment with it. I'm offering one singular signal. Now the universe will respond to that singular signal, and the people who are watching me will say, hey, what's your secret? It seems that all you have to do is identify that you want something, and heaven and earth moves towards you. And you say, I have found the secret. I've stopped beating up on myself about not being where I want to be. I've started giving attention to where I want to be. I've started trusting that Source is always calling me, and that my negative emotion does not mean that I'm bad. It does not mean I'm going in the wrong direction. It may very well mean that I'm moving in the right direction up the emotional scale. I'm starting to care about how I feel. In fact, it's the most important thing to me. How I feel, how I feel, how I feel. Not how I feel in relationship to how other people feel. That is totally irrelevant to me. It doesn't matter where anybody else. It's only 2 points of vibrational relativity. That's the only thing that matters, you see.